Hi, creative spirits listeners. We're here with Sherry McCartney of Creative Mermaids and Kate Donnell from Gumboots by the Sea, and we are joining you at a different time today. It is morning here and I'm feeling fresh as a daisy, and it's sunset for Sherry on her beautiful new boat. Oh my gosh. Oh wow. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can see a spectacular view of the boat on the water and the sky and Sherry's delightful face. And if you're listening, I just described it for you. It's like you're there. And today we're talking about breakthroughs, and we're talking about what you do when you have those aha moments, whether they're subtle, little aha moments or massive aha moments. And we're talking about how you let them settle in, how you let them literally root to allow you to rise. So Sherry, what's your thought on breakthroughs?
My thought on breakthroughs echoes Rebecca Campbell's, because I needed it in order to understand what was going on, which is basically you will get the triple smackdown of the breakthrough that you need. So it doesn't even matter if you do not allow that to soak in, if you do not go, okay, got it, but then work with the got it, it's going to come and smack you again and again and again. Because I'm very guilty of this. I often go, oh yes, got it, done. No problem. I've got this in my head now. I'm really bad for what we were talking about earlier, but the patients also wanting it done yesterday. Mm-hmm. This is my breakthrough that I get through all the time of just wait, if I just relax, if I just enjoy it, my life is so much better. I'm not yelling at the kids so much. I'm not going, it has to be done now. I go, okay, when it's ready, it's ready. I go with the flow. It's so much nicer. And then like a week later, I'm like, it's not happening the way it's supposed to. It happens all over again.
Yep.
So it's something that I don't integrate, and I think this is important, and we should talk about it. Is how do we integrate these things so that we don't get the triples and quadruple and 5 million times smacked down.
Yeah, and I think this is coming from last week's call, which was only recorded Tuesday evening. Where, if you haven't listened to it yet, quick catch up. Kate had this money SPAC rant rebirth, and then on the other side of that went, it's all totally fine. But my aha moment was finding that balance between the ebb and the flow. We have everything we need, and also the trust that all is coming to us in true abundance, but also the undercurrent of accepting that you also have to own your work and put work and effort in for those things to happen. So talking about letting that's my personal breakthrough, let's say. I'm talking about letting that integrate and come in, so that in 2 weeks time I'm not talking to Sherry again going and which is okay if I am, but to prevent that, this is kind of my anchoring it or integrating, isn't it? I'm talking with everyone about how we let breakthroughs integrate. So one way is talking about it, just with a friend going, I had this realization that I need to relax into my flow and truly walk my talk and trust, versus and that was a real struggle to me, versus just going, oh well, that was something, but if we don't talk about it, we're not acknowledging how significant that simple realization was. So yeah.
And yes, absolutely. And this is also something that just sent me too. This is also a thing that I'm guilty of, is that often I look at people who I look up to, like my spiritual mentors on Page and through podcasts and stuff. And then, Gabby Bernstein's someone who really triggers me sometimes, because I read some of her stuff, but I'm like, why are you being such a bad person? Like she's talking about how she was like a really bitch to someone, and she's constantly talking about it in her books and whatnot. Like when I read Judgment Detox, I was like, I'm judging you, Gabby. I'm so judging you. I'm like, this is so horrible. I'm reading a book about Judgment Detox and I'm judging the woman who's writing this. This is wrong.
Yeah, wow. But it's also true.
Yes. And this is the thing that also, that when you said, about how, talking about it, but then also not letting it integrate, I think this is also something really important to remember, is that we all do it. We're all guilty of it. And it's always going to be levels going up and up and up and up. And just because we're talking about it and just because we're working through it, there's a very big difference between ignoring what's going on and feeling your life cycle out of control, and then also realizing, I'm doing it again. And you stop the cycle from going out of control faster then. And I think this is often what a lot of our spiritual mentors are talking about when they're talking about their very human mistakes that we then get mad at them about, which isn't fair. Sherry can stop putting people on pedestals. But to remember, though, that the difference is that you're able to see it happening and go, oh, wait, I'm doing it again. And reining it in. And this is what this integration period comes from, that I think it just means longer in between your smackdowns, that you start seeing it and start realizing, I'm doing it again, or I'm going on a different level, but it's the same thing coming up the same way. I think this is also something really important to remember, that, wait a minute, this is completely normal.
So normal. So a part of being human. And it's so important that we remember that as well about our spiritual mentors or the people that we look up to, that we're all human. And that's why I love doing this podcast, because we do offer services as amazing as the services our spiritual mentors offer. And they tell us that all the time. But if we forget that we're human, or if we, the people looking up to those mentors, those guides, forget that they're human, we will get more easily triggered, won't we? We will forget that those ahas didn't just exist because of that person. They existed because of your work, or they existed because you let it come to you and you're acknowledging. I think that's the difference of a breakthrough and just the same lessons getting stuck in a cycle. You're acknowledging it.
Yes, and this is where the integration comes through, and like you said, the journaling or the talking to a friend or something like that, that you're actually really paying attention.
Moving through it with yoga. Yeah.
You know, I mean, that was huge for me, because often, especially for someone who's like go all the time, I mean, I'm just like nervous energy to burn. You know?
No, Sherry, you and I are not go. You lie.
Exactly.
What are you talking about?
Exactly. And they're so very guilty of being like, oh yeah, that's a lesson, and then but I don't have time to process that, so I'll just like file it here. So of course, just by filing it, it's done. And yoga at least was something that was like the moving meditation of, wait, I'm doing something for me and my body. So I'm like tricking myself into doing some healing, because I'm like, oh wait, no, this is about, you know, being flexible and healthy, and, you know, making sure I can move when I'm 80. But really it's about actually working through the healing while on the mat, because I'm holding those poses and I'm kind of forced into, okay, I'm me and my brain now. There's nothing else but me and my brain. How do I go through these integration? What about my week, my day, my whatever that I need to kind of process? And it has been, it's been huge. I mean, since I've started doing that as a daily thing, it's a great integration process. And I'm really glad you brought this up today, because I never would have thought of it like that, but it's true. It's otherwise I'm really bad for just putting those breakthroughs to the side and think about it later.
It's interesting I brought it up today, because I'm day 11 into my daily yoga practice and using my daily yoga journal written by the beautiful Sherry. Seriously, listeners, it is so amazing. But
we have an angry child in the background who should probably show some processing.
Should we press pause? We can press pause.
No, it's okay. He's gonna come cuddle me. It's okay. Go on.
Baba. But even that I can skim across, because that's the impatience is one of my shadow aspects. So I can be like, cool, make a quick note. No, sit.
Yes.
You have 30 seconds to pick up that pen and open the journal. You have 3 minutes to make some significant notes, whether you read that ever again or whether it's just gently allowing it to integrate. It's so valuable. And that today I must make a point of going to day 11 and journaling, because today I went on my mat regardless of the crazy that was going on around me, and the sun was rising and it was beautiful, but I felt like I felt there was this moment where I wasn't in head or body. I was just sort of going through the motion.
But that's also normal. That's normal.
Of course. And it's part of my breakthroughs is that in my 20s, even getting pregnant with Eden, I was just this robot going through the motions. I wasn't awake. There were gentle hums of me that would do cards and readings for friends, and there was gentle hum of this desire and this knowing that my baby girl would come. But a lot of it was like, I must get pregnant. I am married. I need to get on with my life. Like, this is what you do. I have a nice car. Now I have a baby. I have a pregnancy. And so this lesson of coming into body, bringing mind, heart, soul alignment together allows us to really move forward and acknowledge the flows, acknowledge the human traits, acknowledge, oh no, I choose to be awake. I choose to love myself completely for where I am, love the 20-year-old that got me here, that got me my daughters, but go, oh wow, I wasn't really tuning into my ovulation signs to get pregnant. I was just going through the motions. You know, I thought I was, but I wasn't coming into body. And that's what yoga and journaling and talking about, these sort of deeper level things, not just like, I'm ovulating, so I'm going to get pregnant because I need to be pregnant. So like really, and I did journal then as well, but it was all surface because I should be doing these things. It wasn't the deep, gritty, and what, too much information here on the Creative Spirits
No,
podcast.
no, not at all. But it's the process, isn't it? I also think this is also important. But because sometimes I'm very guilty of that too, going, you know what, if I know what I know now at 28, I could have made such a difference. And it's like, but actually you needed to go through what you went through at 28 to figure it out at 38. You know?
Definitely. And it's so interesting how much better I know my body now. Like I know my ovulation scent, like my BO and my boob tingle, and I thought that you only got that sort of stuff when you're menstruating. And I'm going, wow, these are my ovulation signs that if I knew this when I was 20, holy crap. Like and I thought I did. I thought I was aware of those signs, but nah, now coming into body and acknowledging that and anchoring that through conversation, through journal writing, through acknowledging that mind, body, soul, holistic connection, not just going through the motions. That's huge. I can't believe we're talking about this again, but a little bit of sleep means I'm not freaking out about it. I'm well rested, so I'm not freaking out about my breakthroughs that we're recording on the Creative Spirit podcast today. That's been a really big one for me. Kate's ovulation. So if you're in your 20s trying to get pregnant, come into body. Acknowledge your scent.
But this is just it. I mean, I can't even tell you. Also, some of my friends who couldn't get pregnant, when they gave up and were like, it's never going to happen, and then just stopped being so aware in the sense of like almost hyper aware, and they kind of went just settling into my body. It just happened then.
Surrender.
You know, like,
so common.
Yes, exactly. And sometimes it's also just the fact that you need to wait to menopause and the body couldn't do it beforehand. All of a sudden starts pumping out legs like crazy and the hormones are there, and all of a sudden you're like, oh God, I'm 44, I'm pregnant. Yay.
Yeah. I'm 44, coming into body and pregnant, birthing. Yeah. It happens. It really does happen. And the divine timing of that, and we must trust in that divine timing for how that happens for people as well. And you know, then I get so woo-woo. I was just saying to Cheryl before we hit record, sometimes physical being Kate gets so frustrated with the spiritual being Kate. I'm the same person who's like, everything is exactly as it needs to be, and I'm like, but it's true. It has to be, because it can't be any other way. It isn't any other way. All we have is this moment, and this moment is exactly what it needs to be. And Cheryl, do you mind if I share with you a new little thing that's floating around the Gumboots community that helps?
No, not at all. Please.
Okay. This breakthrough came to me in a session. I've since shared it in every session and in every group circle that I've done since 2 weeks ago. And it all comes back to coming into body and expressing fears, breakthroughs, anything that's frustrating you that's out of your control in this very present moment. It's very similar to EFT and tapping, but instead of tapping through your body motions, you put it in the orb. So this is called the orb. It's orbing it. So you put it in this orb that you hold in front of your hands. So for our listeners, I've just got both my hands in front of my chin, my pinky joined together, my wrists together, and my thumb together. Okay, so this is our orb, Sherry, and I'm going to hold it for you because I'm guessing you're holding your phone there. So I'm going to hold the orb.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, I'm going to hold the orb for us. And so it's really good to help with the integration, with the coming into body, with expressing your frustrations, your fears, the impatience. It's really good to put anything that's getting in the way of you integrating and then gently moving forward into the next moment through surrendering and accepting. So, for example, we might say, even though I wasn't fully aware of my body in my 20s, or even though I get incredibly frustrated that I'm not taking time to write down my breakthroughs. Or can you think of one, Cherry? Put it in the orb.
Even though I'm feeling incredibly frustrated, I'm yelling at my kids again.
Yeah. Even though the kids were the brunt of
And
our
I swear I will never do it
frustration.
again.
Yeah. Even though I feel guilty, I'm having another less day. I don't feel guilty about Lulu being in care, actually. That was going to be a fake one. I'm really rejoicing in that. Love you, Lulu. She's having a great time. She really is. But last week, that was a fear that I put in my orb. I was like, even though I put Lulu into care and, oh, geez. And then when you put whatever you need to put in your orb, and listeners, I encourage you to do this yourself. Like if you want to say, like, even though I was late to work today and I was made to feel like crap, or even though I didn't take time to wash my face and it was the one thing I wanted to do, you know, it doesn't have to be complex. Like I always come back to the simplicity that is us and the simplicity that is healing if you allow it to be. So put any frustrations, even though Kate's spoke about her scent, a BO today, her ovulation scent. And then we put everything into the orb.
We all have it, right?
It's
Why do we
true.
pretend we don't?
I know. I'm just like, wow, this is, yeah. What I was about to say, we would have. Yeah. What I was about to say, we would have had to enter, edit out. Anyway, so we put all of this stuff in the orb. I'm still holding my orb to our listeners. We put all of this stuff into the orb, and then we say, I completely and utterly love and approve of myself. Sherry?
I completely and utterly love and approve of myself.
And then what we do with this orb is we lift the orb up over our head, up to our crown chakra, and we take a deep breath in through our nose, out through our mouths. And then we bring the orb, we separate the orb and we like split it over our head, shoulders, front of our bodies, around our sacral and all the way around to our back. And we pop our head back. And as we put our head back, we take in the love and approval of self. And we take a moment to allow whatever we need to allow in the moment without even knowing what that is into our bodies, into a physical body, into our spiritual realm, into our heart space. I completely and utterly love and approve of ourselves. And then we bring our chin to chest and we open our back chakras as well, so that we're getting a full holistic opening, really simple opening at the back and the front. I completely and utterly love and approve of myself. And then we come back into space. Integration complete. Isn't that amazing? It's so simple, but significant. And the kids listen to that. And you can do it with the kids there. And the kids can join in. It's a beautiful practice. I feel for me personally, it's more effective than tapping because I get a bit erratic with the tapping.
Like you start going like totally crazy with the tapping? Or
yeah.
what do you mean by erratic there?
Yeah. Like I'm like, I completely and utterly love and approve of myself. Where if I have to sit still with the orb, I take a moment to really think about the fears, the guilts, and then I put in within that orb, I purify it. I purify that black orb, say, with white loving light, so that then, it's like a little life cycle, in and out, yucky out, positive in. Isn't that a really, really, really simple? Oh my God, there's value for money on this podcast today, because I think that is such a healing technique. I have had people resist it and go, it can't be that easy. Like, it's not that simple. No, it's not that simple, because voicing fears and saying things that you're feeling about yourself out loud is actually a really hard thing to do.
But it is.
And replacing it with love and approval is hard to do.
Well, it's hard. It was like Neil Gaiman said, it's as easy and as hard as that.
Mm-hmm. I actually think Sherry McCartney says that, actually. Yeah. Just so
that's what I love so much about it. You can also do that, like, because we can talk ourselves out of, I don't have time to find my journal. I don't have time to pull out a pen. Mm-hmm. I don't have time to hit the yoga mat. I don't have time. But you have everything you need. And you can totally do time for the orb.
Yes. We can, you can,
I just got
you
attacked
can,
by a child.
you can, all of them. You can absolutely put,
Actually,
hi Kai. You can actually, or before you start the car, you can sit in the car or boat, or before you clean your teeth, like you can place your hands together. Once you've washed your hands after the bathroom, the toilet, you can put your hands together and take a moment to orb. It's a really, really significant strategy that I had no idea I was going to share today, but Spirit is really leading the way with talking about these breakthroughs, talking about this coming into body and how we root to rise, like how we come into body, yet continue to rise and continue to trust in Spirit and trust that we're supported beyond this physical realm. We've got to really be supported within the physical first and anchor that and ground that, celebrate that.
Because I think and not understand that they need to be grounded in the physical as well. This is, you know, we really
not one without the other. We need,
we try to go with my body is not a body. Like it's a container, but no body,
it's a real living physical thing. And actually someone said to me a couple of weeks ago, when you're dead, you're dead. And I was just like, oh, saying that to the wrong person. I'm a spiritual healer. I literally have conversations with Spirit on daily practice. But yeah, this physical body, according to science, is dead. There is no more activity within this physical body. So we need to nurture and honor and love this physical body so we can be here in this physical world for as long as possible. And for me personally, it's so I can sprout my spiritual beliefs and my connection to Spirit with as many people as possible, because I truly believe that significantly supports people in helping them connect and feel more alive in this world.
This was totally not planned, but totally where it needed to go today, didn't it?
I'm very impressed. This is what happens when Kate's had a night's sleep. Look at that. Yeah, no, definitely had no idea where it was going. But I think, Sherry, I think we nailed it as always. It's perfect as it is in this very moment. And love and approval for self. We will hit record. We will hit, oh God, I hope we've already hit record. We will hit stop and upload.
Yes, we're recording.
And as always, we know that the right people hear the right messages. But I really feel this one will come out at a significant time for people to start going, oh yeah, Kate's mentioned that orb. Or, oh yeah, I'm gonna try that. And truly feel into and believe in its healing powers and believe in our healing powers.
Absolutely. And just how simple you can do something to integrate and heal, because I think this is also something that the biggest and the hardest thing is accepting you can, and that's not easy. It's really not. It's
our body, we want to resist that. Yeah, because what happens when we do that? What happens when we do acknowledge our healing? What happens when we do say it's safe to move forward? What are we leaving behind? And we're leaving this trigger, we're leaving the wounds. And we don't, it's that's scary up there. People might judge us. I'm so not worried about judgment. But, it happens. It happens. There's fears. There's true fears. Or who are we forgetting? Or who's forgetting us? Yeah.
Well, this is the other thing. I mean, I was actually thinking the other day, and not the other day, yesterday probably, because you said about how, I can't remember what you said, like Tuesday night, which would have been like last week for the listeners. But it was something about like accepting the triggers or moving past the triggers. I can't remember exactly, but then I was thinking, and then what would happen? What would I have to give up to have a healing process? That's what it was. You're talking about the end towards, how we have the healing sessions, and people are often afraid of, okay, well, what does that mean? What do I give up? And I think sometimes it does mean giving up everything. Like you might actually have to accept that you need to leave your partner, or you need to leave your job, or you need to leave.
Goosebumps.
Yeah, but this is a very scary thing. We talk about being healed, but we often also talk about, like, okay, I'm aware, I'm conscious, I'm thinking about things. But, sometimes it requires, like cancer, cutting yourself open, ripping out the black, and having to heal with a chunk of yourself missing. Now it's a bad chunk. It was a black chunk, but it was still a chunk that was part of you for such a long time that you kind of identify with that chunk, and you don't want someone to take that from you. And it's not easy, and I think this is important to remember. But at the same time, I think it's also a great way to start making those baby steps. Like, no one tells you after the first phone call that you need to leave, even if, because before the phone call if you need to leave, whether it be a person or a job or a country or whatever. We all know what we have to do. We just don't know what we have to do to get to the point where we're able to do it. That's the difference. No one's going to tell you anything you don't already know, but it's helping you get to the point where you can say, okay, now I'm ready.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Feeling that in my heart space and surrendering sometimes to the moment and going, I don't know yet. Don't know how I'm getting there. I don't know who it is that's going to help me. But if I surrender to this moment and listen to those gut instincts and that intuition and trust in the tiny signs and symbols, I'm going to heal or get a little bit closer to that process of healing. And beautiful souls, we all deserve that process of healing. And for us to continually rise, we need to be rooted in those significant moments of we are worthy of healing. We're consistent. We're always healing. We're moving through something. All of the gurus, all of the spiritual, everyone, they're still constantly healing. It's that part of the balance. It's part of that need for alignment. It's part of being human. So acknowledging that often and knowing you're worthy of this and that. You don't have to keep it buried. You don't have to be the robot. You can come into body, and there's people to support you in that. I think that's really important to remember. I love that we got to talk to you, Sherry, on sundown, like the sun setting. And yeah, look at that. Look at that. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. There's just glittering water and the sky's changing. See, nothing is
I'm in the marina too, so there's like lots of noises.
It's amazing. Well, I think we've really said everything we've needed to say this session about breakthroughs, yoga, using the orb, coming into body, accepting that healing is a process, accepting that we all need it in some form, and it's all significant. You might not be recovering but from some major trauma or grief, but if there's something unsettled in your heart, in your soul, in your physical body, it's okay to put it in the orb and know that you are worthy, you are loved, and you are supported in your healing journey. All a big part of Rooting to Rise. I didn't hear a thing that you just said then, Sherry, but there's a beautiful smile and hand on heart space. So I reckon you're saying that's perfect. It's beautiful.
Okay, we'll leave it at that.
Love you all. Sherry, I'll talk to you next week. And listeners, thank you for being here. You mean the world to us. Mwah. Bye-bye.